today we are going to create an invoicing system using Excel and Sheetcast. Alex, if you hear this, let me know if everything's fine. If you see my screen actually. So we are going to build an invoicing system, put it into Excel, and then we're going to put it into Sheetcast. Sheetcast is to build web-based app via Excel, and you will understand everything after this session. I am very high energy. I'll try to keep you on your foot and ready to go and ready to roll in Excel with me. That's my only goal because a camera takes your energy away. So I'm gonna go me times two. And without further ado, but first, before going into Excel and Sheetcast, let me introduce myself because I didn't do it yet. So I am David Fortin. I'm a CPA, chartered professional accountant. I am from Quebec. I have the Montreal shirt to represent it, Canada, with the Excel, with the Sheetcast team as well. So I worked for PwC for 3 years as an auditor. As you can see, it was a younger version of me, but that made me age really fast because when you are in a big four accounting firm, you work 60 hours a week ish. Most of my clients were in the construction field, and some of my clients were in the banking industry as well. As you can see, I can switch my outfit pretty fast. In accounting firms as well, you have to travel and it's not always cute. So that's also me on the it's not on the London plane, but that's me like in 2017. But I looked the same a few days ago when I flew here in London. By the way, it was a blast meeting you all, meeting all people in the space, Oz du Soleil, meeting also the Sheetcast team for the first time in real life. It was really great. I'm live from my Airbnb. I'm not home. I'm just on my small laptop with a really bad camera. So please bear with me. At least you have my really great voice in your ears right now. After working for PwC for 3 years, I jumped in the tech industry, rocking the bandana. As you can see, my outfit switched, but my role as well. I was more into FP&A, so a lot of data visualization. I'm not as good as Carlos Barboza, of course, but lots into charts, making board decks, making budgets, of course, hiring plans. So I was really in there with the team making the budgets for the video games and stuff. So that was my switch to FP&A and also my switch into the tech industry. And then I switched for a company that is a SaaS company, software as a service. This is my ex-boss, Felix. He taught me a lot on Excel. So I thought I would give him a shout out. This is at our Christmas party, looking sharp as usual. What I did at this company, I worked there for 3 years. I was the FP&A manager. My first project was to raise $30 million with the CFO, of course, and my team. We went and secured a Series B of $30 million using mainly Excel and PowerPoint. After that, one of my projects was to exit the company. So we sold the company. I wasn't the owner. I will not be here right now in this Airbnb. I will be, in a golden seat or something if it was my company. We did all of this once again in Microsoft Excel, building the decks straight up in PowerPoint from Excel. So it's just to let you know that I have quite some experience with Excel. And yeah, so that's me. That's my professional journey. If you have any question, feel free to ask them in the chat. Catherine and Alex from Sheetcast will be answering. We also have Jason, the VP of Sales, in the chat as well. And hopefully you will get a lot of value out of this session. But that's what people thought I was really doing, right? Rocking my shirt, my dress shirt and everything. But here's what I was really doing at Poca. I was petting Pablo, the dog mascot of the office. Anyway, that's just a joke, but I really miss Pablo. I don't know why I dropped my job. Uh, so a little timeline of me real quick. I'm going to have a sip of water. So just to let you know who I am a little bit more, I started my YouTube channel. So basically what I do now is YouTube. I did my first video on February 10th, 2023. So I have a lot of video up there. And as you can see, my first video was Goodbye VLOOKUP. And I have a pig hat on my head. So that's my brand, Piggy Bank Accountant. The pig hat comes from the gaming industry. I was a huge streamer before streaming video games. But then I wanted to do a shout out to my mom. Hopefully she's watching right now. It's 11 a.m. in Canada. I know she's working. She will watch a replay. But my mom made this project came to life with an actual physical project. She built a piggy bank with her hands. And thank you so much, Mom. It makes the project true. So that's really nice. And August 2023, I went full-time Excel. So basically I'm running a YouTube channel full-time now. But somewhere in September or October, I can't remember, my life changed. I met love. I fell in love. Let's say it like that. So Richard Nero reached out on LinkedIn. Hey, you're the new Excel kid on the block. I was like, bonjour, hi, who are you? He's like, you should talk to Catherine Mondragon from Sheetcast. She's amazing. So, you have some guy reaching out. You look at him, 15, 20K followers on LinkedIn. Maybe I should hear the advice, right? So that's exactly what I did. I reached out to Catherine Mondragon, which is responsible for the marketing at Sheetcast. She was here in London. She introduced me to a lot of people. She's great. She's amazing. We love the hat, Catherine. And so, yeah, Catherine is amazing. She's part of Sheetcast team. And we got so close that I even told her the day she called me, I showed her my banana bread, because I was so happy. I never cook. And I was like, Catherine, here's my banana bread. Like, now that we're real friends, I'll show you my banana breads. And she's like, oh, that's cool, because it was in the oven. So I came back to the computer. And here I'm just telling the story of how I met Sheetcast, because I'm not working for them. I'm not an employee. I just collaborate with them. And then she's like, "Oh, do you have more time?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure." She's like, "I'm gonna bring Alex on this on the call, the business analyst, and Alex will show you what's the app about, and I'll show you like how Sheetcast is good." And I was like, "Oh, sure, Alex, what's up?" And Alex is a friend of mine now. He's here in London with me right now. He's actually in this Airbnb. I told him please hide in some room, and Alex became so much friend that I showed him as well my banana bread. I was like, "Hey, Alex, here's the banana bread." They didn't have to taste it because they're in Alberta. I'm in Quebec, Montreal, represent. So that's the story of Sheetcast. And then these guys, we really got along, and they said, "Hey, what about you meet Jason Clark, the VP of Sales of Pleasant Solutions, at the parent company of Sheetcast, and maybe we can collaborate together." So I remember this day. It was not that long ago. I came back from running, and I overextended my run. I'm not a huge runner. I mean, I run more than a lot of people, but I came back from my run. My hair was a mess. I was like, oh my God, I have like a professional meeting right now. You know what? I'll stay myself, and I'll just screw that, and I'll go on camera like that. Well, it led to an amazing conversation with Jason. We spoke for like 45 minutes of like how it's important to stay in shape and run, or do whatever, anything for your body, great soul. They say something like that. So me and Jason, we it really connected. It was great. The guy's amazing, VP of sales. You can ping him in the chat as well. So we started talking, and after like 1 hour, okay, let's get to the point. So what can we do together? What kind of project can we work together? So that's the relationship I have with Sheetcast. I don't work for them. I'm not on the payroll. We do collaboration. I did a video for them. So I did what I do best. The headline of this slide. I went there, I made a video on how to make a hiring plan, basically. So we built a hiring plan into Microsoft Excel, which was actually a practical example. It was a hiring plan that I used back at Polka, and actually I wanted to put it in Sheetcast, in their app. And this is exactly what I did here. The video, this is intended that you can't see everything, but it's just to showcase you that I did this. I put an hiring plan into Sheetcast. It's available on my YouTube there, youtube.com at Piggybank Accountant. It's labeled under Build an Hiring Plan with the Sheetcast tool. So this is what Sheetcast do. And today we are going to go a little bit deeper. I am going to show you this invoicing system, and we're going to build it in Excel. So this is me, Learn Excel the Modern Way. I'm David Fortin. I'm a CPA. And without further ado, let's jump deep into the subject, and let's go into Microsoft Excel and build this very simple, and I want to say it, very, very simple invoicing system. Because here the goal today is not that you learn Excel. The goal of this specific meeting is that you can see the possibility of Sheetcast. Okay, I'm going to use some very, very basic function, and let me know if you can still see my screen and stuff. I don't see the chat. I only have one screen, but it should be fine, right? I'm talking a little bit fast. I'm going to get some water. So here's an invoice. So today I'm showing you, actually, I told you I went full-time YouTube. I'm starting to bill. I'm starting to have clients. So I needed an invoice system. So what I'm showing today is actually my own invoice system. This is real. This is what I use. This is what I use to send invoice to clients. So I went to Google and I just typed Microsoft Excel invoicing template. And I downloaded this one. I added my beautiful face in there, so it was more personal for my clients. So I make sure they pay me. And I actually downloaded this one. I was like, how can I build something around this and it makes sense? It's easy to send invoices to my client. So what I came up with is actually, it's going to be super simple. That's what I told you. You won't learn much on Excel. We're going to use XLOOKUP, VLOOKUP, some drop down menus, and like conditional formatting. Super simple. It's not perfect. It gets the job done for small businesses or people like me that just want to build client and get an efficient system without paying for QuickBook or anything else, So basically what we're going to do today, you see this orange cell in here, the invoice number, it will be our unique ID. And then we're going to fill all those pink cells with XLOOKUP or VLOOKUP based on that unique ID. So I have a master sheet here. I won't go through all of that. I just want to say we didn't see much Copilot on the Global Excel Summit, but all of this data was generated with Copilot. So we keep talking about ChatGPT. Copilot is the AI from Microsoft. But here we go. We generated some customer names, Garani Grizz, Du Soleil data, beautiful data, so I didn't have to think about it. And it did actually a wonderful job. So we're going to build a master sheet real quick. I just want to walk you through the columns real quick and how I made them. And then we're going to go to actually how to build the invoicing system, like the invoice themselves. And then we're going to go into Sheetcast. Okay, I feel like I'm talking fast here. I hope you guys are following. So we have the invoice number, the first column. Then we have our client information that we basically see on an invoice. Then we have a description for Leila Garani, by example. I did an amazing YouTube video, I wish. And then we have the hours that I charge, 7 hours, the unit price, the total. Is there taxes? Simple drop-down menu, yes or no. I'm going to zoom a little bit for you guys. And then we have the tax amount. So I just said a simple if. If there is taxes, put 5%. Of course, you can do it whatever you want with the parameters. If it's 10%, 20%, anyway, you get it. The total amount. The total amount is just a total of the tax amount and the subtotal. And then we have the invoice date, very important. And I also added for myself a status here. So when I want to track, do I need to get paid by some client? I just can filter on the red color or the yellow color, and I know I have an action to do. Then I have the status date. Do you still see my screen here? It flickered. I'm not too sure. Okay, it feels like everything's fine. All right, good. And then I added a status date. So whenever I do my updates, I go update the status date, and it reminds me that I did this last time, the last week, by example. Anyway, don't get to, this is not the important part. I just wanted to show you the data set that we are going to work with. And very important, you need to change your data as a table. As you can see here, table, it's a table. Sheetcast works with tables. So that being said, if you select your data, press on Control T, convert to table, super simple. This is my invoicing system. Let's call it the master sheet. Then I go in the invoice number 1, by example, which is this tab here. And let's do a XLOOKUP. So I want to add the client here. I'm filling the blue cell. XLOOKUP, I select my unique value, which is my invoice number. Then I go to the lookup array. I go back in the master sheet. I select column A, and I want back the column B, the customer name. Here we go. We have Garani Grids. I will do the same for the invoice date, equal XLOOKUP. I select my invoice number. I go back in the master sheet, select the invoice number, and we wanted the invoice date, which is at the end of my data set to the right. Here we go. Select column M, press enter. Basic XLOOKUP. If you don't know how to do XLOOKUP, guys, my YouTube channel, my first video, the one with the pig at, I teach you everything. Okay. Let's say you don't have Excel 365 because whatever reason your employer won't pay it for you, it's fine. You want to do a VLOOKUP, okay? Same, but different. VLOOKUP, it's less good because if you add columns, it's going to bug. But we'll do a VLOOKUP, same concept, equal VLOOKUP. What is my lookup value? My invoice number, my unique ID. What's the table array? I will take back in my master sheet, column A to E. And I want the fourth column. I want the address. Remember to always put the false, equal, enter. Let's go. And then I'm just going to copy paste the function for the email. I want the fifth column. Here we go. So I filled my green cells with a VLOOKUP. Super basic Excel so far, but I tell you this works. I use it every day. Okay. So when I completed my invoice, I won't fill everything else with the XLOOKUP. You understood the concept. It looks like this. Of course, we could remove the color and make it like one color. It will look nicer. But my invoice looks like this. And then let's say it's not invoice number one. I want invoice number two, the one with Os du Soleil data, and he found Victor Momo. Here we go, invoice number two. Everything changed based on the invoice number. Invoice number three, invoice number six. Let's say tomorrow I have to bill a new client. One line is one invoice. I had invoice 26. I will put this is Jason Clark because he owe me a lot of money because I made a lot of video for him. Invoice 26, I go back in my template. I put 26 there. Jason Clark appear there. Nothing else because I didn't fill the other data. You get the concept. That's my invoicing system. If we were not collaborating with Sheetcast right now, we will stop the video there. It's done. Thank you. Goodbye. But now I want to make it the extra step. I will put all of this in Sheetcast, and actually I can try to show you the end result before we start. I have it here. I clicked on the Sheetcast button at the top right, Invoice Sheetcast demo. I won't build it live. I already built it offline because I don't use Sheetcast very often, and I was afraid of my own skills. See, there you go. It doesn't work, so I'll just go with my videos that I recorded. It was exactly why I didn't record it live, because we had a lot of technical issues at the GES recently. So I learned. So the goal, I will share my screen here. The goal is to put the invoice in Sheetcast, and I recorded every step of it. I did it actually at 2 p.m., 2 hours ago, really last minute. I wanted to see if it works, and it did. So the goal is to put my invoice system in Sheetcast, and here is the results. Okay, so I really did this today alone, and the only tutorial I had is Alex Martin sending me 3 lines like, you need to start a detail report, a form page, and edit record. And I did it myself, and it was really easy. I didn't have to ask him any other question, and didn't pay me to say that. It was that easy. Okay, so first we're going to build a details report, which is the master sheet that you saw, so the one with every line of my invoice. Then we're going to build a form page, which will be very useful to create invoice directly in internet. In my Google Chrome web app, I will be able to create invoice. Never go back to Excel. You don't want anyone to break your Excel. You're building this template for clients. You're a consultant, whatever. You don't want them to break the Excel code because you don't want to teach them. You use Sheetcast. You build a web app. Third step, edit the record. As you can see, there's a little pen or even an X if you want to delete an invoice. I would not suggest doing that, but you can do it in Sheetcast. So that's the result, but let's see the process. How did I get there? Super easy. So here we go. Oh, the first thing I did actually is I changed every XLOOKUP with a custom function in Sheetcast, the cast source value. And it's super simple. All I did is, like, let's say for the client, I write equal cast source value, and I go select the client column. For the address, same thing, cast source value. I'm going to select the column of the email, of the address. So it's super simple. That's the step one. I got rid of all my XLOOKUP, all my VLOOKUP. It was step 0.1. Now the step 1 is to create a details report. As you can see, it works with a page. When you click on add page and then you have a selection, you can just click on details report page. So basically, as you can see here, maybe I should slow that down, but it's just going to loop. I just select my details report. So I tell Sheetcast, my details report is this table here in the master sheet, and I want you to cast based on the invoice here. Basically, I select 2 range of cells. First, my table in my details report, and then I just tell Sheetcast, based on that cast source value function, please cast the invoice, okay? And you'll see later the results. Actually, that's the results of the detail report. As I showed you, when you click, you're just going to go into the invoice, and that's in Google Chrome. Once again, we are in the Sheetcast app. We are not in Excel anymore. And I press on next record, and I have all my invoices there, right? The video is starting again. Click on add page, click on details report at the bottom left. That's actually the speed, my own speed, because I was really slow. And so that's the step 1, create details report. Step 2 is the form page. Once again, we click on show the sidebar. We click on upload and add a page, because Sheetcast works, you add a page. So page by page, what do you want? I want a form page here. Actually, I did this step at first, so I was creating my app here. I clicked on upload. It created my app that I just showed you earlier. And then I am going to select my form page. So the form page that you saw earlier, it's there that you can add invoices directly into Sheetcast. Then I'm clicking on table. Sheetcast detects the table in the master sheet. As I told you, we need to switch our data in a table. I go in Sheetcast. That's the form page. Here we go. So I'm building block by block all my steps, all my pages, and it's making an app in the web. Pretty sick, eh? Video is starting once over again. Step 3 is to edit your record. You have an invoice for Os du Soleil. It had a mistake into it. You forgot a 0. You create an edit record page. Once again, super easy. You just select add page, click on edit record page, and here you go. You click on the little eye. You can go see your page into Sheetcast, into the web app. As you can see, my conditional formatting is there. I have my pen. I have the X. I can remove an invoice. Simple as that. As you can see at the top, maybe I pause here. You have 3 pages, which are the 3 pages we did earlier. Well, I just showed you. Do I have anything else here? I think it's Q&A time. I would have loved to show you live in the web app, but it's basically all the video that you saw. If you have any question, feel free to ask them in the chat. My YouTube channel, youtube.com/@piggybankaccountant, Sheetcast at https://sheetcast.com. Jason, Alex, and Catherine are in the chat to answer your question. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn, YouTube, wherever. And thank you so much, everyone.
Can you guys hear me? David, that was awesome. Thank you very much. I could sit, you talked a little bit about when we met and we chatted for, it seemed like a very long time. I think it was more than 45 minutes. We were off topic. And I really enjoyed that conversation as well. I remember it quite fondly. But I could sit and listen to you just talk about yourself all day long. You have a great delivery and a great presentation methodology. I really enjoyed that, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
There's a lot of information you went over there. I actually have an idea we build demo apps here, and I built some stuff internally that we use. I really liked your use of Sheetcast and the custom functions to replace lookups and all the other things. Fantastic job. You've got my wheels turning about some other things that we can do with Sheetcast. And that's one of the really cool things about Sheetcast. And I remember way back when Sheetcast was still just an idea, one of the comments I made in a meeting we were having about what this thing will be and how it will work and how people will use it, one of the comments I made was, I can't wait to see how people break it and try and use it in ways we didn't anticipate, because it's going to be just like Excel, incredibly flexible. And I think for all of us that are Excel users, we love it, and sometimes we get very frustrated with it because we want it to do something and we haven't figured out how to make it do that yet. So that was a fantastic demo. I really, really appreciate that that you did.
Thank you. And when I wanted to share straight in the app, it was available. It just signed me out, and I'm so not used. I just had to click sign in, and it was back there. But anyways, I was running short on time. But I tell you guys, this is a fantastic product. I really believe in it, and despite we have a really great connection and stuff, but I really believe in the product. So I think I just showcased it today, like the use case you can have with this app. But yeah, feel free to ask any question in the chat. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, thank you. I noticed that you were signed out when you switched over. It was the first thing I checked. I'm like, signed out. But you had a backup. That's the sign of a professional. You had a backup ready to go.
That's the 2 days at the GS, technical issues.
I know Alex and Catherine and Brett have been monitoring the chat. I'd encourage anybody, if you've got questions for David, as David pointed out, he's not directly associated with Sheetcast. David has his own website, and maybe Catherine, you can throw David's links into the chat as well, so people can reach out to David that way as well. But David has become very enthusiastic about Sheetcast, which we really appreciate. And he's quickly becoming a foremost expert. Any questions for David? Any questions for the Sheetcast team? Please throw them in the chat or reach out to us individually. We're going to kind of be hanging out in this room. David, you're welcome to stay as long as you want. We're going to be hanging out in here. We've got a couple more sessions later on in the day, but we're going to be here more or less all day answering questions, doing demos, showing things, whatever it is you want to see, hear, or know about. That's what we're here for. Let's see if there's something in the chat here. David, there's a question in the chat. What other uses do you see creating?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So I thought about that quite a bit. The hiring plan is actually something, well, it's a video I made, but it's actually something that could be really useful. And I was just telling Alex yesterday, like my CFO at my previous company, he didn't want to go in my Excel spreadsheet because first he didn't know anything about the the formulas I was doing, and second, I didn't want him to go either. There was like 60 tabs. I was managing the whole budget of the company, but what he wanted to know is like, how many devs, how many salespeople are we going to hire, and what's their salary, how many of them are in Europe, how many of them are in Canada. And if I just could have casted him one sheet of my stuff and he could filter by himself, it would have saved me probably a few nights at just him calling me while I was gaming. I was streaming on Twitch, as I said, and I'm like, hey, I can't answer you, but like, what's priority, your job? Or so yeah, so I had to open my Excel, filter for him, do a pivot table. If I could have just casted him, it was filters. But I didn't want him to go in like my OneDrive, because we had OneDrive, we had Google Sheets, like it was all over the place, like it is in any good startup company, right? So that's one use case. I have my financial advisor actually, which is a financial advisor, but he has clients all over the globe. So sometimes if he goes to Europe, just like Jason showed in the previous session, you can make a map. So what will be nice is like, okay, I didn't call this client for like more than 300 days. The dot on the map becomes red. Oh, I'm nearby. I'm just going to knock on his door. So that will be something else. Super basic use case, but I think you will love it, So that's on top of my head. That's just things that you can do. The user control that Alex Martin showed up in his session yesterday, how to monetize a spreadsheet. This session was yesterday. If you missed it, go watch a recording. It's very useful as well because you can control who has access to something. So once again, if I want to give my accounting team the whole hiring plan, but I don't want to give them the salary, I can just hide the salary column. So that's a use case that I see. And I'm really giving like practical example that this will have been useful in my day-to-day.
Yeah, it's funny because the things that you talk about, what I find when I'm talking to people about Sheetcast, they instantly make it relevant to something that they're working on right now. Like there's this instantaneous nature of Sheetcast, where for those of you that saw the demo this morning, I built 3 completely different types of apps in 15 minutes. And it's kind of cool, and you feel powerful when you go, oh, I've got my trip to London tomorrow. I have all these places I need to go. Spreadsheet, web app, done. I can't remember how long that took, but I'm going to say about 3 minutes. Or I had an experience when we started first using it internally where I was working on a data collection task, but I needed data from a lot of different people, and they were sending it to me in, as usual, all the different formats, right? And then I realized how absurd it was that I had this product here ready to go. So in about, I'm going to say 10 minutes or so, I built an app, built a spreadsheet, built an app, shared it out to the people that I needed, gave them instructions directly in the application. There was an instructions page. Within about half an hour, I had everything. I was able to then report, collate, send information out to my boss. And we were done that entire project. It was a multi-day project. We were done in about 2 days, where we were kind of planning all week for it because we knew sorting through data and then organizing it again was going to be, it was going to
And
be the challenge, right?
and what's fun, and I said it on the line, and that's really true, is like before today, like the hiring plan one is it was Alex that built it for me, like in Sheetcast. But this one I just showed you, I built it all by myself. And Alex just told me you need to use this report, and this report. And the speed that you saw is actually the real speed that I did it. Like I was struggling because I don't remember, like doing an X lookup for me is super easy. I do 25 times a day, but like doing Sheetcast apps, I just started. So I was like, if I voice over while I do it, it will be tough because it's my first time. So my brain will be
Yes.
thinking. So I just pre-recorded, but it was the actual speed. Like it took me maybe 8 minutes, like including like the actual video editing where I put like a background, like it was super, super fast. And the result is actually great. Like you can, if you're a consultant, you can monetize that. And so, yeah, that's cool. You have a great product in your hands.
Yeah, thank you. It is one of the things that's become obvious to us as well, is the ability to monetize spreadsheets in a way that you couldn't quite accomplish it as elegantly, because now you can create your spreadsheet. That's the core. That's what we do. Turn it into an app and then monetize the app itself. And now it's much easier to manage, much easier to provide additional value, to provide workflows, to protect IP. We get a lot of customers coming to us saying, I've got this spreadsheet that I use to help my customers. I want to give them the spreadsheet, but I can't, because now I've got multiple versions, because sometimes I'm updating information because it's real-time information that I provide. Now they just provide a login. The client gets a subscription with that particular application through that particular consultant or provider. And now they're making money sometimes even when they're asleep, which is my favorite way to make money if I can just figure it out. Because I've tried sleeping
Right.
at my desk. My boss doesn't pay me for that.
That's right.
It didn't go over very well. I'm just going to check back in on the chat here. I know Alex has been answering some questions. There was a comment I saw somewhere, I can't find it now, that said, love the map idea. David, would you be offended if I brought up the London app that I built earlier?
Go ahead.
And showed it to everyone?
Go ahead.
Let me figure out how to do it. New platform this year. I think this will work. Up the window. The screen, here you go. So this, last night, I built this for the first time last night, because I thought, I still have one more app I need to build for my three demo apps. And I was kind of just inspired by the fact that you guys are in London. I'm still back in Canada. It's currently snowing outside in Alberta, in Edmonton, and it's not very warm. And I actually was born in England, so I've got an affinity, and my family and I are planning a trip next year. So I thought, where are we going to go? What are we going to do? How are we going to keep track? What will we remember after the fact? And that's where this app came from. And what's really cool about this is it literally building the spreadsheet took me most of the time. Just deciding what columns I wanted and a little bit of the functions that I wanted. But the whole thing took me, 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes to build. And now I have this kind of novel thing where I can keep a diary of all the places that I want to go. I can just add them to the list. I don't think I built in any editable functionality into this. Oh yeah, maybe I did. I can rate the visit. Was it a good visit? I can keep track over time how many times I've been. So maybe I was there in 1995. I don't remember. And then if I click my visited button, now I've gone again today. My number's gone up. I'm actually keeping track of a trip. And I can add pictures, not just this one picture. I can add many pictures. And I can leave comments about, we loved seeing the guards. And not only have I just left that comment specific to that site, but it's time and date stamped. Like I'll remember it. So I've actually built this cool little diary, and it's got a pin of all the places I want to go. So I can see this is Tower of London. It's got the address in there. When I go there, I click visited. It knows it's the first time I visited, tells me when, changes my pin to green, and I can even drop into the site via Google and remember what it looked like beyond any pictures that I might have taken. I'm right inside the tower right now. That's really cool, right? That's a really cool thing that took me as a user 10, 15 minutes to kind of organize and build. And now I've got, to be honest with you, I built this just kind of as a quick idea. But like I said, my family and I are planning a big, long trip to England next year. This will probably become an app that I actually use to plan that trip, right? I'll grow out some of the functionality. And it all comes from a simple, where's the sheet for that thing? London trip. A simple spreadsheet. Let's pull this over to the other window. Sorry, I've got some memory problems, so it moves slowly all when I'm streaming. Not my memory, the computer's memory. This is it. This is the whole spreadsheet, the whole workbook right here. So I've got categories that I haven't made use of. This is where I'm just kind of keeping track of visited, not visited. It's a reference, changing the color of the pins in the map. That's what this is used for. So I don't need that on screen. Those are just kind of tools that I'm using. Here's something that, this is a cool button. So that button that says I visited, it'll go and it'll look, all of this is a big long if statement with some Sheetcast functions in it called cast button, which creates a button called visited. If F2 is blank, it'll create that button. It'll take, it'll put in the cell L2 another do set values of dates, and it just kind of strings together all these things that I want to happen, so that when that button appears, it's called visit. It checks to see if I visited at all. If not, it puts the date in first visited. If first visit isn't blank, it puts the date in last visited, and it starts my number of times visited counter all at the same time. And writing that is as complicated as writing a small nested if statement, which I think we've all done more times than we care to. And that's it. The other novel thing is cast picture, which is another Sheetcast function equals cast picture. It automatically creates a bin. And if I want to go and change the way the picture functions, I can have it be a single picture, appear in cell, as a carousel, as a scroll, as a gallery, videos, all the rest of it. And I don't really have to do, like, one of the cool things is I just continue being an Excel user. I don't have to become a programmer. What do I want my Excel spreadsheet to do? I want it to show pictures. I want it to do some complicated moving around of multiple things and multiple fields being filled out with a single click of a button. It's easy. It's really easy to do. And I got to tell you, and unlike David, who is an independent source of opinion, I know I have a bias. I'm not going to try and hide that. But you can ask Alex how many times he's walked into my office and I'm probably not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm building a Sheetcast app instead because it's kind of fun. I've got my first customer. I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly, Granny. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but I'm probably not. I apologize. So I've got my first customer for my app. I'm going to commercialize my my travel app. I'm actually going to make the spreadsheet available and as a sample on our website. Maybe if I can get one of our team members to post our live examples, it should be up there in a week or so, and you can start using it and modify it however you'd like. We'd love it if you did that, and I'd love to see what you do with it. Oh, David, you can't unmute. I'm not sure why you can't unmute. I hope I didn't do that. Let me see. I don't think I'm doing. I'm going to stop sharing for now anyhow, and let's see if that fixes the problem. There. Are you able to speak now? Did I lose you? Is there anything else anybody wants to ask David? We're very fortunate to have him here when he gets back, I think. And I know he loves chatting about the work that he does. You're back.
All right. I don't know why it will not let me unmute. I was like, maybe they fired me from London. Something happened or whatever. My passport is not good anymore. It's expired. Yeah, I just wanted actually to say goodbye and thank you for having me, Jason, on this stage. That's really cool. And hopefully next year I'll make the big stage and we're gonna reach thousands of people with Sheetcast. So thank you for having me. I hope you guys had fun and the recording will be somewhere, something we need to discuss. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. David, as you know, I really enjoy being with you and spending time together. And next year I'll be there in person.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, Jason. Thank you so much, everyone. And see you soon. Reach out on LinkedIn or YouTube, wherever. I'm really easy to chat with. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, David.